British Columbia's Copper Mountain Mine is a ticking time bomb just miles from the Washington border. New reports show an unacceptable chance of failure of the mine's waste dams, which would decimate communities, critical waterways, and wildlife on both sides of the border. Washington leaders need to demand that their BC counterparts resolve the perilous state of those dams and strengthen regulations so this doesn't happen anywhere else.
The story of copper.
Copper mining.
The first metal that humans extracted from the earth.
For the better part of the 21st century, the world has been on the market for raw minerals. Mining for critical materials like copper supplies economies and is the basis for emerging technologies. But a combination of geographic circumstances, non-compliance with safety and environmental regulations makes some mines more disaster-prone than others. What happens when something goes wrong?
When it comes to an environmental disaster, few top this.
The tailings dam at the Mount Poly mine failed, sending 10 million cubic meters of wastewater into local waterways.
If there is one image, one symbol that shouts what's happened to copper mining.
This is Copper Mountain Mine. Situated in British Columbia near the town of Princeton, just 25 miles north of the Washington border. These mines build dams as tall as skyscrapers to contain a slurry of sediment and toxic minerals, essentially creating a basin of byproduct due to extraction. This corporation in particular plans to expand the mine tailings despite growing concerns about it failing.
We are confident the Copper Mountain project will meet all expectations.
Look at this chart showing global dam tailing breach events in the last 100 years. This was the Mount Poly disaster back in 2014. In the event that Copper Mountain Mine breaches, we could see the biggest tailings dam collapse in Canadian history.
Seeing what could happen downriver into the Okanagan, the Columbia, just the impact that would have not only to water quality, but our salmon, our people, and all of our resources, kind of just made your stomach drop a little bit. What happens upstream affects us downstream. It affects our health, our safety, our resources, and our legal rights. We were never consulted about the dams or about the waste material that we put into our rivers and the long-term effects and the potential of catastrophic disaster.
Scientists modeling dam breach scenarios determined that a life-threatening debris flow would bury the Princeton community in over 30 feet of toxic sludge within 90 minutes of the breach. The toxic waste would inundate the Similkameen Valley and reach Washington within about 24 hours. Due to a combination of geography and corporate negligence, Copper Mountain Mine's tailings dams have an annual probability of failure in a range as high as 1 in 100, which is more than 1,000 times greater than the acceptable standard of 1 in a million.
The Culver tribes are working very hard to bring salmon back to the upper Columbia River. To have a mining company in another country putting our culture at risk when we are trying to restore these populations is contrary to our ultimate goal of a healthy salmon population. Salmon are at the core of who we are as people, and we can't allow that to be threatened.
This is not just the run-of-the-mill story of a corporation choosing profit over the health and security of our environment and communities, but one about malpractice, hollow regulations, and the false promise of a more sustainable future. On the precipice of climate change, environmental negligence and extractive practices need to be a thing of the past.
The impacts to our homelands, where we've lived since time immemorial, would be devastating.
Ask Governor Inslee to protect Washington by demanding that BC leaders move to improve safety at Copper Mountain Mine and the weak regulations that led to this crisis.